if I fuck us up, we'll be overdone. You'll forget me. I'm feeling bad that I act this way cause you let me. They call me king, but I know my queen will be there to check me. Last year was running around 45th looking for Soho. Last night was riding down Rodeo looking for NoHo. It's crazy what can change in a year. Think that you know they'll go back and forth like a yo-yo. They live their life for the photos and see me, I'm acting solo cause I'm afraid to commit. Now can you tell me how I'm different than him? And him, yeah. I know I'm always questioning things. Like, girl, would you say that love cannot be found inside a vow or a ring? She laughs and says only material things. Those are material things. Imagine buying all my trust with a ring. Imagine spending all my love on a fling. Got a thing for you. If I had the talent you had, I probably would sing for you like.
Out of my head, out of my mind, why? If you let me, I'll be out my best. And into your arms tonight. Yeah, I'm lost without it. Feels like I'm always waiting. I need you to come get me. Out of my head and into your arms tonight.
Yeah. I don't mean to make you wait or to contemplate about us. My ex, she loved to lie, guess it's why it's harder to trust. I've been searching to find myself and not get too lost in the lust. I heard once that you could try but can't fill from an empty cup, that's no lie. And all I ever say is how I need time. If it was up to you now, you would be mine. I'm on a roll more than I'm home, and still I find it's only you on my mind. The last 3 were Gemini, I take that shit as a sign. It's funny, you can't buy time with your money. And you love going to the beach, whether it's cloudy or sunny. And you love drinking all your wine until it hurts in your tummy. You call me honey, I'm tipsy, and really all I want is for you to love me. Flashbacks and back roads, driving back to my side of state. I know I need to tell you I care before it's too late. Before someone steps to the plate, before you decide not to wait, before you decide not to chase, till you call me up just to say
I'm out of my head, out of my mind, why? If you let me, I'll be out of my dress. And into your arms tonight. I'll be I'm lost without it. Feels like I'm always waiting. I need you to come get me. Out of my head, into your arms tonight,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Josh and Reece Podcast here on a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, summery Monday night. We have obviously got my co-host Reece with us, and Nathan once again joining us because he's got nothing else better to do on a Monday night. There's no our furniture piece. Doug is not with us today. He's with his fiance tonight. So, but we might see Doug in a chat hopefully. So, obviously got my co-host Reece. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Just finished work about 20 minutes ago. As you can see, repping Star Wars. Like that's how it should be. But no, I'm good, man. Long day, but I don't look tired. I just look ready to go.
And I got Nathan. Nathan's fresh off watching my Q&A, which has been uploaded today. So if you haven't seen that, of course, check that out. But Nathan, how are you doing?
Yeah, fantastic, guys. Make sure to check it out on the channel. And yeah, thanks for having me on as usual.
Hello, Helen. How are you doing? So hello, Helly, and hello, Helen. There we go. Two H's confused me. Hello, Chelsea Van TV. How are you doing? Thank you very much. Hello, Nathan from Helly. So it's 2 Chelsea and 1 Man United here. No, Nathan's not a Chelsea man. He's a Cardiff City fan, as you can see.
Come on, man. Look at the badge. Come on.
It goes God tier, Welsh tier, Chelsea.
Well, we will be coming on to Man United because obviously Man United have been on to summer transfers.
We are the talk of the summer.
And hello, Shane O'Donnell. Now, very quickly before I start this podcast, I received some extremely sad news. This afternoon, as I finished college, I froze. That's so weird. I'm back. Yep, there we go. Sorry, I completely froze. Sorry, my internet decided. My internet decided that it's had enough of
What's this news?
I received some standees that one of my viewers that was what I've been watching my content very regularly. Someone who I spoke to on Twitter this morning passed away of alcohol poisoning.
Christ.
After drinking extremely heavily over on a Friday night, was in hospital all Saturday and all Sunday, and unfortunately passed away of alcohol poisoning. So, in response to this issue, I've got this video on my Q&A, but it was the only relevant video I had. So I'm going to play a quick music video from Witt, who is one of my famous rappers, kind of spreading awareness about alcohol poisoning, and I hope the video, along with the lyrics, kind of gives everyone a bit of realistic effect about what drinking alcohol could do to not to your own life, but also to your family and friends' life.
Can go a day without food, I can't go a day without you. When I try, I get the shakes till my face turns blue. Lost my job, wife, life for a bottle of booze. You promised you would make me happy, we know that's not true. I tried every drug in the book, but they never hit me the same. I told my doc that I'm down, he put some pills in my name. It doesn't matter the problem, the fix is always the same. Always taking the easy route like I'm never willing to change. Damn, I'm blaming everybody but me. With you inside my system, everybody used to love me. But now my friends, family, my kids, they can't even trust me. Been losing all my control and I let you fucking become me no more. I said no fucking more. I know you think I'm lying, I said this to you before. This time I'm fucking ready, it's time to show you the door. This life is mine, it never was yours. I've been lying, I've been saying I'm fine, but I've been feeling low and I don't know why. Another night, I feel empty inside. I'm bottle after bottle of whatever I find. Feel the weight lift off me. Someone tell my mom I'm sorry. I don't wanna lie, I've been losing my mind. They tell me take a pill until I feel alright.
The very scary fact about this is that Sophie was only 14 years old. She was 14 years old. She went out on a Friday night drinking with her friends, and unfortunately never returned home. She watched every single video that I had on this channel. Someone who was very supportive in DMs, and obviously all thoughts and prayers go out to her family and her friends, which is an incredibly difficult time. So obviously in that video there, just don't take alcohol. Don't take alcohol lightly. It can be very damage to you if you don't do it responsibly and carefully. So I just had to start off that because that was a very important message to receive. Very sorry to hear that's awful. Rest in peace. And hello, Richard. Hope you're doing well. So to start off the podcast, obviously with the Euros. Reece, I'm going to ask you the question. You're going to absolutely hate answering. Is it coming home to England?
No.
Okay, well, Nathan, we'll ask you that. England have a chance of winning it. Their semi-finals and finals are at Wembley. They've only got Denmark, Italy / Spain to get past. Is it coming home?
No. I mean, every single time they do it, or they get to the semi-finals, everyone says I have an agenda, right? It's not the English national team I have an agenda with. It's the English media that I have a massive problem with. They just hype it up to the moon. They literally say it early on, oh, it's coming home, we're best and all that. Oh, Wales, they're all rubbish and everything. No. They need to come back to reality and they need to stop jinxing it for them. They're going to bottle it. I know for a fact they are it's been hyped up to the moon. We saw it at the World Cup. The exact same thing happened. Just the egos were absolutely rising through the roof there. And then when they played Croatia, I was on a cruise in the middle of the Mediterranean. The absolute beauty of them getting knocked out by Croatia, and me and my dad celebrating with loads of Scotland fans. a thing of beauty and everyone going sad. The media need to calm it down. They really, really do. And I think because of that, and it's going to happen again, they are going to bottle it.
A Scotsman, a Scot, a Welsh, and a Northern Irishman talking about England sounds like a start off the joke.
Yes.
I think you're right. The media, I'm someone
I
else.
can't stand them. And to be fair, today as well, the Welsh media, they've got to have something to blame. Right. I will get up now. I'm going to let Reece talk for a bit. But I'm going to get a certain statement by a certain journalist up that is just going to blow your mind.
Well, Reece, I'll ask you this, right? So, like, obviously, Kane was getting bashed so hard, and everyone has 108, and everyone has 108. Yeah, well, I think that's very true, Neil. I don't think anyone can deny that. But Reece, we know Denmark have played really well this tournament, right? There's no, this is not a fluke like Ukraine for them to be where they are in this tournament. They're not going to have anyone in Wembley because the government isn't going to allow any foreign fans in Wembley by the sounds of it. But could Denmark put England in their place?
I don't see why not. I don't want to be 100% biased and say Denmark are going to smash them. I'd love to, but I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I think they might, but it depends on how they play. They're going to have to play to their game, play to their strengths. Don't be concerned about England's style of play. Just play to their game, and they can cause problems. But in all fairness, I'm just sick of hearing the words that's coming home. Like those three words can kiss my ass. It's repetitive, it's boring, and I'm sick of the whole media bollocks behind it. You don't like. There's no need for it. But I understand you've got to hype up something, but hype up something else instead of three words that are irrelevant, frankly, because the people say, "Oh, it's coming home." It's got nothing to do with football, for fuck's sake.
This is what I'd like to get from. This is what I was referring to earlier. I've just found it now. Even Gary Lineker's commented on this. It's gone this viral. It's a tweet by Laura Kemp, and it's an article from Wales Online now. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely despise half the stuff that comes out of here, but she said the following today: all Welsh people should now be supporting England in Euro 2020. And then she goes on, says a few very controversial things that she should be cancelled for, I imagine. And she basically goes on about talking about the knee and everything, and certain things like that. Shocking statement. And personally, what I think from that is, one, we can support who we like. It's a free country. And second of all, you may have watched football, but I'm sorry, it's exactly the same as telling a Cardiff fan or a Celtic fan to go and support Rangers. Come on. It's not common decency. It's complete stupidity.
It's a hanger down. You look like a school bully going in for the lunch fun. I always pick up things when I'm talking and fidget of them. I don't know why I do that. Hi guys, England are doing well, but I can't image if they win it. Well, Nathan, on that comment, if they came up against the Italians, would the Italians beat them?
England.
You think England would beat the Italians?
No. I think the thing is, Italy against the final either way, personally, in my opinion. That Spain squad still does not convince me at all. But when it gets to the final, and with how well that Italy team have been playing, they really impressed me when Wales played them in the group stages. England are going to have the shock of their lives when they play that team, of how well oiled and well managed it is. They've got to watch out, and they just got to be cool, calm, and composed, not hyping it up to the moon.
What have you made of Italy so far? Do you think Italy have been performing higher than you expected? Just about where you thought they would be, or do you think that there's still more to come from them?
I think there's still more to come from them, definitely. They've got quite a young squad in some areas. Yes, some of their, you've got like Chiellini, Bonucci, they're getting a bit old, but some really good young players coming through in that side as well, especially going forward, starting to gel really well. And considering where they have been for the last 5 years, failing to qualify for major tournaments, having massive issues here and there, but then they bring in Mancini. He has really sorted it out well. They're going to be a force. in the future.
England's defense has been doing very, very well.
But look who they come up against every single tournament. They get really cocky about it because they get these. Well, they get these. You can't say easy because yes, they have played Germany, but they have got quite advantageous fixtures that come up, and you should be able to keep a clean sheet about that. But I will say this one thing now: the defense is strong, but the goalkeeper situation still does not convince me. I mean, if that England team even won the Euros with those 3 goalkeepers, a guy with little arms, a specialist in relegations, cough cough Aaron Ramsdale, and a guy who plays for West Brom.
Reece, who do you think is going to win the Euros out of Denmark, England, Spain, and the Italians?
Personally, I would want it to be the Italians, but just the way I think Italy are going to win it, but I think Denmark, the fact that they've built on the whole Eriksen situation, they've built on it and they've played really good football, is a good thing. They could potentially win this thing. I wouldn't write them out. Pains me to say it. England have a good chance as well. I don't think they'll win it, but they do have a good chance.
They do.
I think out of the 4 teams, I'm definitely writing off as Spain. I don't think Spain are going to. Spain aren't good enough in my opinion. Frankly, they're just there by luck. I don't care if they've scored 5 goals against 5 goals against Slovakia, and then they've done the exact same in the first knockout stage, and then they've scored 3 or whatever. They're still not a good team. Yes, they've started to play better now, but I'm not convinced by them.
I mean, they're still playing Morata up front. I can't trust that. There's no way that they're going to win it. They have a young squad. A lot of their team, if you look over the last 10 years, it's just really faded out. They're not getting, and this is surprising for Spain as well, they're not getting too much coming through, especially I find in that midfield, maybe going forward as well, but it'll be interesting to see that defensive situation too. I mean, not using Oyarzabal, for example, is something that really confuses me too. I would be, to be honest, and this could be a controversial opinion, I would be using Oyarzabal or someone like that instead of Morata up front.
Moreno.
Exactly.
Moreno after what he did in Villarreal. In terms of the whole tournament, Reece, I want to ask you about Ukraine. Obviously, you spoke very highly about Ukraine when we did the predictions video. Okay, yes, they made it to the quarterfinals, but were Ukraine not really? Be honest, were Ukraine not really disappointing? They got outplayed by England, lucky against Sweden. I got 3 in a group by beating North Macedonia. They probably were not as good as you were hoping them to be. Maybe just the nerves got a bit better of them on the big stage.
They weren't great. That's a fair comment to make. But I said they'd be underdogs for a reason. They play really good football. They're clever as well in terms of their movement, in terms of getting goals when it matters and getting results. They were unlucky to lose against Holland in the group stage. Frankly, the result against North Macedonia helped them. But in all fairness, they got the results they need to, and I said they were an underdog, and they proved me right. Yeah, they got to the quarterfinals. That's great for them. In terms of moving forward, we'll see. But it's just a matter of what they do if they get to the World Cup next year. But they were unlucky to get, in terms of they got up against a team that is finally started to kick on as well, and they did get outplayed. But in all fairness to Ukraine, they shouldn't go home with any disappointment at all. I think they should go home with their heads held high. That's the furthest they've ever got in a European tournament. So credit to them where credit's due, and I hold my hands up and I stick with it. I said they were an underdog, and I don't change my opinion.
Nathan, what about France and Portugal going out? Obviously, Portugal. I have Portugal as my favourites for the tournament. Going into this, France obviously France were obviously the World Cup winners. What did it come down to? You know, France look very complacent. They look like they were very cocky with themselves. Deschamps, changed their free at the back end. Switzerland was one of the most worst decisions that he's probably ever made as a football manager. And then Santos of Portugal, he probably didn't play to the team's strengths. Was it the case that these managers were not progressing with their squads in terms of how their squads were, or was it complacency, or was it just a very competitive Euros?
I don't think so at all. I could see this coming with Portugal, to be honest. There's something that doesn't really convince me. Their defence needs strengthening in certain areas. I thought Ruben Diaz be too much of a step up for him, especially after he's had one season that is amazing at Man City. But he needs that support gap around him, and then you just have too many egos going forward. Ronaldo, you have Bruno Fernandes as well in there. You have the Swansea flop, of course, and I will call him the Swansea flop because I'm still not convinced by that complete. You can't even call it talent, can you? There,
he did. He was very poor at Swansea. I'll give him that. But in terms of what he's done in France, he's played really well. I know it's a completely different league, but at least he's shown that he's trying to get back to where the whole potential is. But there's so many egos in that Portugal team that didn't do them justice.
Personally, and I think this is another controversial opinion, but when you take Ronaldo out of that squad and you get a really strong leadership position, and now I'd say a Jose Mourinho, that team could just win every tournament for the next 5 years. But because you have Ronaldo in there, Bruno Fernandes, they're all trying to be the main man of that team. You can't do that, especially with the likes of Ruben Diaz and Rui Patricio going back. They all want to be that leader, but they can't. They got to get someone strong in like Mourinho. Ronaldo's going to be out of there sooner or later. He's 36 now. He's gonna be going.
The World Cup, I reckon, has got to be his last tournament. It
will be. It's gonna that 2022 tournament is going to be the last one for a lot of them. Ronaldo, Messi, Bale. I can think of so many others as well.
Half the Belgian team.
Half the Belgian team, yeah. Hazard, maybe Lukaku. Probably, actually, no, he's got years left. But the whole defense of Belgium as well. But they got to sort it out.
Talking about Belgium, the way Portugal set up in games was negative. Yeah, well, Santos wasn't the one to be a very pragmatic negative manager, and I think his squad's far too better for back when they won the Euros in 2016. I think that setup was justified, but I think his squad's far better than that. Talking about Belgium. Belgium didn't really have. This was probably Belgium maybe last chance to win a European competition. Obviously, they'll still go to the World Cup next year. They're still win, but they need to hope there's some good young defenders coming through, don't they? Because defensively, they were an absolute shambles all tournament. The Italians ripped them apart like there was no tomorrow. By the way, Reece, do you blame Martinez at all for this, or is it just simply down to the fact that this guy's got no good centre backs that he can really pick from?
I generally don't think the Belgians live up to their hype. They're massive. They're massively overhyped and they're overrated. And I'm sick of saying this. I've said it for so long, like a few years in this sense, and I'm sick of being proven right with this Belgium team. They're overrated. They're not good enough. They're just a team filled with world-class players, but they're not a world-class team. And I also said, going at the Euros, I also said France were overrated. And I got slaughtered for it. I got slaughtered for calling France overrated. And I was proven right with them. Like, I'm sick of being right about these two teams, but the difference is at least France can live up to their hype as well because they've shown in the World Cup the quality. They've done it. The Euros they hosted 5 years ago, they still live up to the hype, even though they didn't win the final. Belgium have failed to live up to their hype since 2014 onwards, and it's honestly pathetic. And the quality they've got, they should be winning something. It's also down to two managers as well that aren't particularly good enough. Mark Wilmot's very poor. Martinez, the fact that he's leaving the Belgian job as well, like he said, he done the same thing that Joachim Low did before the Euros. He said he was leaving. Frankly, that could also have had a detriment on both international teams, the Germans and the Belgians, just using them as a context. But the fact of the matter is this: Martinez isn't good enough, and the Belgian team's overhyped. France, they're probably going to go and storm the World Cup next year. They won't win it, but they'll storm it with the quality they've got. Bit of advice: if whoever's in charge, don't take Benzema. You can do better. But in all fairness, they didn't live up to the hype of this tournament. And I agree with what Hell said as well. France underestimates Switzerland. Massively underestimated them.
Now, do you guys see Hazard come back to full fitness? Belgium deserve a better match. Hazard looks extremely injury prone, doesn't he? You know, he played that game. He played that game against Portugal, and his hamstring just went again. The guy, I don't know. Someone who was kicked a lot and hurt a lot in the Premier League. He might. I don't know if it's a matter of can he get back to full fitness. It's a matter of if his body can take it. Because I genuinely
believe he's finished. I genuinely believe Eden Hazard's finished. He may as well retire and let his younger, more talented brother step up and take the position.
I agree.
England would be a better team if it had Ian Fit and Sean Morrison at the back.
Excellent.
That
I
would
would like
be
to add into the that Belgium stuff as well, but when all of when their main squad retires, especially the main core, because they have had this golden generation for years, what have they got coming through? Yes, you have the likes of Castagnet, Jeremy Doku as well, who I think is an absolute superb player, especially watching him. And I'm surprised they didn't. People haven't caught onto him for a while because he's great at Anderlecht and great at Rennes as well. But I'd like to share my screen if that's okay for you, because I just popped up this Football Manager save 5 years into the future, and all I can say is look at the defense.
Sorry, so let me make you full screen just to make it a bit easier.
Half of these guys I've never even heard of. Some of them I do know, but
It's like
Shalamaka as well, like as a defender, is ridiculous because he can't even play a defensive position. I'll be surprised if he plays in a defensive role. He can barely play as a winger for AC Milan.
Bearing in mind, look who's up front as well.
Divock Origi.
With how it goes to show how little's coming through as well, and how they've not made use of this massive golden generation. But if I look at the two centre backs, you've got one from Milan. This is regen. He's about 20 million. Not anywhere near the quality that needs to be sustained for one of the a potential tournament winner. And then, however you pronounce that,
Sebastian Bornau. Okay,
from China. Currently at where's he currently at? Cologne. Very interesting that.
Thing is, this is just a Football Manager prediction, but a lot of people actually look at that and actually still think, well, you don't realistically need a video game to determine where Belgium are going, but it's also a correlation. I don't see Belgium with any sort of defence to come through. I mean, the youngest centre-back I've seen them play is probably Jason Denayer, and he's not that good.
Yep.
Like, they don't have anything that suggests they are going to be a force defensively. Attack-minded, yes, unless they do something crazy where they only play three at the back and it's all fullbacks that can happen to play in a defensive role. I don't know.
Here's the scary thing, though, is that our Fiona Vertonghen are likely to retire now, going into the World Cup next year.
Well, they should.
That's going to be their last tournament.
They're way into their 30s. They should have retired. I mean, Vermaelen, how he's still playing baffles me because he's pish.
It's crazy because they're playing those three at the back: Vertonghen, Vermaelen, Alderweireld. How can you expect to keep goals out when that defense is so slow?
If you're going to do it, play one of them, and play maybe one of your wing backs as a right-sided defender or a left-sided defender. You can do that, no problem. Other teams do it at international level. Like play Castagna play Castagna or Munya as a right-sided centre back. It's not a problem. At least you got a bit of pace in there.
Here's a question. Moving on from Belgium to Germany, Reece. Obviously, Lucky Lad goes out on a low. Tony Kroos, I think, has retired now from the Germany.
He's now officially retired to concentrate on Real Madrid. Yeah, he's officially retired.
It's just, so we just spoke about Santos and Deschamps not kind of progressing with the younger generation. Do you think that Lucky Lad taking the decision to step down from Germany, letting Flick come in, kind of is good because again, new generation, new set of players coming in. It's Flick probably will suit this younger squad and what Lucky Lad probably would have done.
To a degree, but I remember watching the Confederations Cup before the World Cup in 2018, and he went with a completely young squad. He still had the likes of Julian Draxler and Toni Kroos were in the team, but he went with the younger generation. He took them, and they won the Confederations Cup with ease. And obviously, if you win the Confederations Cup as world champions, you're not going to do well in the following year's World Cup anyway. But this was a young team that was actually developing. There was a young team that was very attack-minded, that was very good defensively, but it had no fear. As soon as it got to the World Cup, it changed things, and that's where it all went wrong. I still remember the Sweden game where they had to rely on Toni Kroos' goal to save them before they'd went out in the second game. And obviously, we all remember the third game where they got destroyed by South Korea. That broke my heart. But it was not as bad as last week. We're not even going to fucking go there. But in terms of the Euros, I think the biggest miss was, I said it to you guys on the show before the England game. I said the back three was the worst decision. He should go with a back four against England. Those were my exact words. Play a back four and play Goretzka and Kimmich in those positions, play Kroos and Goretzka or whatever. In fact, no, I remember what I said. I said play Klosterman and Halstenberg as fullbacks, play Kimmich and Goretzka in the pivot, get an attacking midfielder in there like Thomas Muller, and have a front four of Gnabry, Werner and Sane on the wings. At least you've got pace that actually works. That's a front four. Or play Havertz for pace in behind as well in the attacking midfield role. But he went back three.
When I looked at Germany against England, Germany did not look like they were well coached or well drilled or comfortable in that back three at all. They looked really the back three looked really disorganized and disjointed. Like it didn't. I understand, and plus, changing from a back four to a back three takes a long time to introduce. Thomas Tuchel was probably one of the managers who was able to get a quick free element quickly and smoothly. But generally, it's a hard transition, and it's like it just as you said, it makes sense why. Lucky Lowe played the back three. He ditched it. He went to a back four, then he ditched the back four for no reason. Went to the back three again. And it was like he kind of.
Yeah, I don't know why he done that. I honestly don't know why he done it. If you're going to play the back three as well that he played with, Hummels, Matthias Hinter and Antonio Rudiger. Yeah, Rudiger suits the back three because he plays there for Chelsea. Hummels is only in a back three to complement his lack of pace. Matthias Hinter is a solid defender. They could play a back four with Hinter and Rudiger. Or frankly, where's Niklas Schüller? He's a quality centre back. Or if he's going to play Gosens as a wing back, you could play Halstenberg as a left-sided defender. He's comfortable in a back three on the left-sided position. He's a good ball-playing centre-back. He might not have pace, but he's got the intelligence to play the role, and he's done it. So I would have done that as well. There's options, but the fact that he reverted positions as well when it was going well for him baffles me. He made the right change in the game against Hungary. They were losing to Hungary. He switched to the back four, and they went and blitzed Hungary with Goretzka in the Ballack role. Hansi Flick's going to do that anyway. But as soon as Hansi Flick is in, as soon as he gets in the door, his first day international training, when it comes back to World Cup qualifying, the back three will be gone. I am 100% certain that back four will be in.
If I'm not mistaken, just for anyone who doesn't know, I believe Flick was the assistant to Lucky Lowe at the year they won the World Cup.
2010 World Cup, Hansi Flick was the assistant manager.
Good evening, Doug.
And Euro 2012.
Hello, Doug. How are you doing? So
he's got international experience. He's been there.
So very, very quick answer. Are you excited for when Flick comes in and to see if this Germany team will be back to their top?
I would say honestly, Hansi Flick is either winning the Euros or the World Cup. It won't be next year, but I think Germany will be a lot better team. I'll tell you what I'll be happy about next year. Marco Reus will be back in the Germany team. He will be in that Germany team in Qatar. I think Thomas Muller's going to be there. His last stand as a Germany player. He always turns up at a World Cup when he plays, so I wouldn't be surprised.
But he did very well under Flick too. Muller did very well under Flick, so
he did. I wouldn't be surprised that there's going to be a heavy fold of quality in that team. I'm expecting a few young players to come into the team a bit more prominently. Musiala, former England player who was born in Germany, he chose to represent Germany. Good for him. He's going to be the future attacking midfielder. You've got Wirtz as well. He's another attacking midfielder, plays for Leverkusen. You got Sane, you got Gnabry. Even though he's a bit of a pain in the ass because he very rarely scores. You got Timo Werner, but he has a decent goal scoring record for Germany. He just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. At Euros, you got young defenders there. Schüller's still 25. So you've got that. You've got Klosterman, who's 24. You've got Ter Stegen, who I believe is going to be the number one very shortly. So you've got that. Goretzka's in there. He's going to be more prominent. Like I think this tournament is a bit unlucky for him, but he's going to go and develop now. The fact that Kroos is retired, Kroos is one of my all-time favourite German players, but now Goretzka can step in. Kimmich is going to be in that role with him. It's going to be a Kimmich and Goretzka pivot. Emre Can's going to be told to fuck off. Thank you.
That was it's
perfect. I'm looking forward to the German team. He won't win the World Cup next year, but I honestly think either Euro 2024 or the World Cup 2026, Germany will win one of those tournaments. I will bet $1 on it.
Just another comment, Reece. You know, why did Lowe bring on Emre Can against England when you needed a goal? Like, where was the logic in that substitution?
Fucking delusional. Fucking delusional. I think there will be some striking options because they only took one recognised striker as well. Because Volland, in my opinion, is not a recognised striker. When he plays for Monaco, he gets drifted around the positions. He's not a staple number 9. I think there'll be different options. You got the young lad that plays for Benfica, Waldschmidt. He's more of a centre forward, but I think if he gets under Hansi Flick will make him a number 9, and he'll tell him to stay in that position. It just depends on what he goes for. But I like the prospects, but. Hansi Flick will get this team going. It'll be more tactical as well.
Is it a bit emotional and disappointing to see Low go out after 15 years? You know, he's been with his German team for 15 years. He made him a force to be reckoned with. He won the World Cup. They were always threatening to play against. But, you know, after having at the World Cup and what happened here at the Euros, is it a bit sad to see a guy who loves his country so much and has done so much for his country go out on such a low and maybe tarnish what he did a wee bit?
It is. I think for any international manager of the circumstance to go out the way they did, it's horrible. And obviously himself, he done great. I mean, the man's record speaks for itself. He's only failed to get out of a tournament once in terms of the group stage. That was the World Cup 3 years ago. He's only ever failed there. But his record in terms of where he normally gets to, it's either the semi-finals or further. The last 16 is the shortest Germany have ever done at the Euros. In terms of actually in the knockout stage, they've always got to the semi-finals or beyond. So it's a bit of a surprise. But for him, yeah, it is a little bit of a shame. If in his own mind he wanted redemption from the World Cup 3 years ago, do I think it was a good idea? I don't know, but it's just a matter of where things go from here. But I wish him well wherever he goes, and I'm looking forward to seeing Hansi Flick come in because he's only been a pro manager 2 years and he's already won 4 major trophies out of a possible 8. He's
amazing.
7 or 8 in his first season as a professional manager. He won the treble. The only other manager that's done that, Pep Guardiola.
Nathan, just one final question before we move on from the Euros. Besides the Wales games, because we're all going to pick that, what has been your favourite game at this tournament besides obviously the Wales games?
Difficult decision. There have been some absolutely brilliant ones. Oh, France, Switzerland's got to be up there.
France,
I
Switzerland.
think that's my favourite. Yeah, France, Switzerland.
Reece, what was yours?
Superb game.
In all fairness, my favourite game so far has been Italy versus Belgium because it got rid of the overrated merchants.
I think it will be good to see someone else in for Germany. He made some tactical errors in the tournament, but he's got a pretty impressive record as Germany. I think if any clubs looking for a manager, I wouldn't look past Low for any discussion.
He plays exciting football.
But to move on from the Euros, Reece has to leave in 20 minutes. We're going to start off with Reece and we'll move on to you, Nathan, because you can talk away if Reece has to go. So obviously Manchester United. Joe Glazer said probably about over a month ago in a fan forum that Manchester United were going to heavily invest within the squad. You have signed Jadon Sancho finally. Fabrizio has confirmed that Varane is very much the number 1 target, and you're already in talks to sign that young midfielder from Rennes.
And Paul Pogba's on the way out apparently as well.
And Paul Pogba probably is on the way out because he's not going to sign a contract. Martial potentially is also. Martial has been stripped of the number 9 shirt. We pretty much already know that. So,
it's the first I've heard that. Obviously, I've not had a chance to look at stuff today. So, first I've heard about number 9. That's the first I've heard that. In all respect, who announced that?
Jadon Sancho's getting number 7, means it's been taken off Cavani, meaning Cavani's probably getting number 9, and it's been taken off Martial.
There is a possibility. I know Sancho's getting the number 7. They asked Cavani about it, and Cavani didn't mind giving up. You know what? I think what happened? Dan James has been linked with a loan move to Brighton. I think it'll be similar to Cavani for Uruguay. I think Cavani will move to the number 21 shirt, and I think when James returns, I think he'll take up a different shirt number. But who knows, really? I don't think Martial will be moved on because Rashford's about to go for surgery. I don't know if they'll risk losing Martial because of Rashford's injury. I think they'll give Martial 1 more season.
Well, we'll do, Megan. Because obviously you're very much anti-Glazers. You hate the Glazers with a passion, but you know, is the whole Super League and the whole pressure and all the protests, is this why Manchester United's coming out and actually now meant to be being the club and splashing the money that Manchester United should have been doing the whole time? Or is it Solskjaer's demands? Obviously you'll be very pleased. Like, obviously, before we look at your seasons for next season with these players, in terms of in the boardroom of the Glazers, why are the Glazers all of a sudden spending this money that they never like to do?
Well, in terms of Man United, obviously, there was the Glazers movement that tried to stop them getting into power 16 years ago, like with the ownership, and sadly that failed. Hence, FC United of Manchester was born. But you've also got, we were trying to get them out, and obviously there was ammunition that was building, but it was just, the movement just didn't have the strength. And now, because obviously the Super League behaviour, obviously myself, you and Nathan, we done a show a couple of months ago and we spoke about the Super League. And I said there's so much spotlight on the Glazers now where they are in the spotlight massively and they are under so much pressure because the fans are collectively want them out. It doesn't help that the Glazers out, like tweets and stuff have went quiet. That really doesn't help. But they are in the spotlight of, we want rid of them. People are still actively wanting to get rid of them. And obviously they said in the fan forum that they still think it's perfectly acceptable to take out dividends. The debt that the club's in, they think it's still sustainable. They think it's still good to be in that position. A club of Manchester United's history and stature should not be £2 billion worth of debt. That's just a no-go. Like, Man United should not be in that amount of debt. Like, that's disgusting. So we are going to do everything, obviously, we can to get rid of them. I don't care if they invested 500 million. They reinvested it into Old Trafford, which has fallen apart. It needs massive renovations. The training facilities have already been documented regarding the women's team. Awful. That needs to be dealt with. I wouldn't care if they pumped 2 billion back into Man United that they've stolen unfairly. If they put it back in, reinvested at the Carrington, Old Trafford, built the team, gave us the world's best coaches to go with the manager, and give us squads like Man City, but still fit our club's history and ethos, I would still want them out. I would still want them out because of what they've done. At least they've fixed the problems, but they're still the biggest problem. It needs to be removed. They're still in the right way. Say they are still what is defined as, by what many fans have said, they're still the cancer to this club. They are slowly killing this club, and they will continue to do so because they believe what they're doing is perfectly acceptable when it's not.
But do you think this is going to be a trend going forward? Do you think the Glazers are going to start spending money season beyond season, or is this like a one season wonder that will probably please a majority of fans where they can probably go back into their reluctant ways, or is this maybe down to the new sporting director who's coming in to replace Ed Woodward? Is he playing any part in?
Martin's done a fantastic job. I'll give him credit where credit's due. He's been very active and he's done what he needs to do. But in terms of spending money, I agree. I think they will, to try and keep fans on side. They want to rebuild trust. They never had it in the first place. They only spoke to us once in 15 years, and that wasn't enough. There's nothing they can do anymore. They can't hide. The Glazers' time is ending. Their main puppet is going. Not long until Woodward disappears. After that, by all means, get them out one way or another. I don't express harm on them, but I want them to fuck off.
That's quite extraordinary. But my final question to you then about this very quickly is about the Glazers is what do you think you're going to go out here and say, oh God, it's coming home?
I'm going to be sick.
Hello, Anthony. The Glazers can't hide and ignore anything any longer. The sponsor even asking quite well.
We lost two spots. We did lose two sponsors because of the whole situation. And obviously, we were hacking review stuff and all that as well. They lost two big sponsors.
Do you think that's also a reason then?
Oh yeah, like even Adidas, like our biggest sponsor, Adidas have came out and questioned things, and TeamViewer were about to question things, but they've still signed on. Man United are always in the public eye, whether it's social media or it's in day-to-day business. Like, they're on the stock exchange. If the stock dipped massively, sponsors will look at that and consider pulling out, because they don't want to keep investing their own money into something that's ending things. I honestly don't care who we sign. We could sign the world's best players. I would still want the Glazers out.
Well, I'm going to put something on the screen here to kind of go into to kind of move on, and I think this might physically, honestly, Reece, this might physically make you sick. Just trying to see if I can find something here. Though I think
viewers' discretion. If you're a Man United fan, this is also for you.
Pure discretion is advice. While I just scan it here. This probably will physically make you sick. So this was a Manchester United lineup. Not too long ago. So you've got David De Gea in goal, Lindelof, Maguire, and Phil Jones as the back three.
Oh.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Fred, and just Pereira in the middle with Brandon Williams as the right wing back, so the left wing back, and then James, Martial, and Rashford as the front three. And then your bench is Lee Grant.
That's all pace up front.
And then you've got Tansebi, Grant, Gardner, Ashley Young, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, and Mason Greenwood on the bench. So Reece, remember them days?
Bring that lineup one more time, because I just want to see the midfield.
Good. Fred and just Pereira.
You know, the worst thing is that was January 2020, and the reason I know that was January 2020 is because that was the last time Phil Jones played under Solskjaer. I can't remember the opponent. I can't remember the opponent, but I know that was January 2020. So I assume that must have been before the Burnley game, around about that period of time. So that makes me fucking sick. I don't mind a 3-4-3, but playing a 3-4-3 with some of the players in that team would make me physically sick.
Well,
I agree, but that is the least Brazilian midfield going. Elite, mind you though, Fred is one game away from a Copa America final. They've got Peru tonight in the semi-finals. So Fred, best of luck, mate.
So to move on to your expectations for next season. So, but when we spoke just at the end of the season, you said Solskjaer has to win a minimum of 2 trophies this season.
I did.
There's absolutely no reason why he can't win 2 trophies this season when he's got a right winger and he's gonna have Varane and a pro back. And hopefully you'll have a CDM. You might maybe get Declan Rice, maybe a new CDM, maybe Pogba will be able to play in the middle finally in the pivot. There is no reason why he actually can't win 2 trophies this season, and I think these expectations were only raised by the signings that he's making.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've stuck to my point of view when I said he needs to win 2 trophies, and I stand by it. And the reason I stand by it is if we win nothing this year, that's 5 years without a trophy. Manchester United, the longest they've ever went is roughly 3 or 4. They've never gone 5 years without winning at least a single trophy. This has got to be done now. Like, he's got to win something. He's been back properly. He's got the right winger that Man United have been craving out for 12 years. We're potentially getting a world-class centre-back in Varane that's won everything there is to win as a football player, bar 1 trophy, the Europa League. He's never been in that competition anyway, so frankly, he doesn't give a shit. And if we get a top-class defensive midfielder, then we've got something to build on in terms of the attacking style going forward. He has to challenge this year. Even if he doesn't, obviously I expect 2 trophies, but if he doesn't win the league, but he's within, like, if he's constantly challenging throughout the whole season, and he finishes like 5 points off the champions, but he wins like the Champions League or he wins the FA Cup, maybe even the Carabao Cup, just to wind up City fans. We need to win a trophy. Otherwise, it really is the point of the bullshit excuses of you cannot keep this man. You physically can't. And I know there's people out there that are ollie in and they're ollie out. And I respect that. I honestly do. And credit to you. But whether you're ollie in or ollie out, you've got to still have the realistic point of view of, if this man continues to fail where it matters most, where he isn't winning anything, then you have to look elsewhere. He's got to use his squad better this year. He needs to be more proactive with changes. Personally, right now, our players are back in pre-season training. He can fuck off his coaching staff. They aren't good enough. I would bin the lot of them. I would bin every single one of them and I'd replace them with elite coaching. At least then he stands a chance. If he sticks with this coaching staff and they win nothing, he's going to get all the blame. They're going to be forgotten. It's got to be done right this year. And with all respect to him, it's either the Premier League and he challenges in the Champions League, or he wins us 2 trophies, but he at least keeps in a fight. If we're out the Champions League at Christmas, like if we are out the knockout stage, if we are out the group stages, if we are eliminated in one of the domestic cups and say we're like 5th or 6th in the league and we're like 10 points back, then he has to go. You cannot go from second and finishing lower and call that progress. If you do, you're absolutely deluded.
I've got 2 questions. You've got to go in 7 minutes. I've got 2 quick last questions for you, 2 quick fire ones. The first one
around 5 past, which is okay.
The first one is about Ollie's coaching. If Ollie is still reluctant to make quick changes, he doesn't change away from the 4-2-3-1 if things are going bad, or doesn't adapt the formation mid-season if things aren't working out. He's sticking with it. From what I've heard, he's sticking with it. And then this coaching team does the same as what they did last year. Do you think Manchester United could win anything if nothing has changed from last year, even with better players? If he doesn't recognise and learn from his mistakes, then we won't win anything. We do have a good mentality of like second half where we do play better. We are a more dominant team in the second half, and that's a good thing because, frankly, not every game is won in the first half. But we've got to show more where we can dominate games for 90 minutes instead of 45 minutes. We've got to be more proactive. We're still technically unbeaten away from home as well in the league. And our first league game of the season away from home is against Brentford. I'm pretty sure it's Brentford or Norwich. It's Norwich Brentford or Brentford Norwich. Either way, Arsenal's record is getting broken. It will be broken as soon as the season starts. But in terms of just the season in general, if he does not recognise his mistakes and he leaves things too late, then I wonder. Last year, the one thing is he didn't use his squad enough. I don't think he trusted his bench, although he should have gave a few players a bit more of a chance, which didn't really help. But also, we didn't have a pre-season. We're going to have a pre-season this time, which is great. So at least we'll get our fringe players and our squad players up to strength for the first team in terms of fitness, ready to go. We'll see what happens, but at the moment, I'm just more focused on where we go from here. How's this team going to develop? Who we bring in? And I'll give them the season, but I'm not going to. I've always been straight down the middle. I'm not Ollie in. I'm not Ollie out, because people use that argument as a weapon. I don't want to be that type of fan. I just want to support my football club and just hope that the best thing for me and as a fan of this great club is we win something and then we build from there. I don't want to go into another season going, we're nearly men again. I don't want us to be the nearly men. That last question to you, Len, is we kind of previously spoke about it on Twitter. So obviously Tom Heaton was announced there during the week. Lee Grant has signed a 1-year contract extension. So does that mean anything for David De Gea or Dean Henderson?
They're still staying.
No club though has 4 senior goalkeepers. It's fair. The only thing that you could logically think, unless Lee Grant is staying, maybe to work with the reserves or something.
That's what I believe he's going to do. Yeah,
because you never have 4 senior goalkeepers at a club.
Nah, I think Heaton's coming in just to keep those 2 on their toes. De Gea and Henderson, keep them on their toes. I still think it's going to be between De Gea and Henderson for number 1. I think, in all fairness, I think De Gea's going to start against Leeds. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be Dean Henderson. I think it will be David De Gea. But as long as whoever he goes in with, whoever doesn't start the Premier League season, the other goalkeeper's got to be the Champions League goalkeeper. Champions League and the FA Cup, I would and build from there. I'd use Tom Heaton in the Carabao Cup. The league goalkeeper, all that, it's got to be balanced out. Lee Grant, he's just going to work with the young keepers and help out with coaching for goalkeepers, keep them on their toes. I don't see anything else for there, but it's basically saying if you're bringing in Tom Heaton, then what's the point in letting Sergio Romero go? Because it's the exact same situation. But I don't know.
Romero, it was actually, just sorry to interrupt you there, but there was Chelsea are in talks with Romero's agent for him to be the backup to Mendy next season, with Kepa going out on loan to Spain.
He's the best backup goalkeeper in world football. He's the best backup goalkeeper in world football. If he works behind Kepa, Mendy, because Kepa's going to be in space. If he works behind Mendy, who's just won African Player of the Year, well done to him, by the way. Well done to him. He thoroughly deserves it. It's going to be interesting for Mendy will be kept on his toes because Romero's shown it when he's came across. He is a proper good goalkeeper.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for enjoying it.
So like it speaks for himself, and he deserves to be a number 1, not a number 2.
Right, Nathan. Obviously, very quickly before Reece has to go, what do you make of Manchester United's chances with the league title next season?
It's just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that I'm not sure about. I mean, one thing that I find crazy is that at that club, or in general, he has more relegations than he does major trophies. It is concerning in the way he just refuses to adapt. I've seen it before. I think it's going to really hinder Man United this season, but we're going to have to wait and see because the Glazers are backing him, that's right. But as Reece says, they're not back. Well, you can back players as much as you can, but it's the other stuff that you've got to back the club in. You've got to sort out that crumbling stadium. And I mean, look at the concourse. It reminds me of being at Reading, and that's a shocking ground, that place. And then the training ground. If you look at all of the other top 6 teams and compare the training grounds, Man United stands out as being nowhere near the others.
This isn't the sorry to interrupt you there. This isn't the Carrington that Sir Alex Ferguson dreamed of bringing into the Premier League in terms of like the best the best training facilities ever. It's no longer near Man City level. And now you've got Liverpool's new training ground is fantastic as well. That's a painful thing as well.
I'd even say the likes of Southampton and even Burnley's new training ground is better. Even Brighton's is amazing as well. They've got to invest in these areas and invest off the pitch more than on the pitch. On the pitch happens over time. If you get the money into the right areas, building the foundations, it's like building a house with bricks just straight on grass. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Nathan, I'll ask you this question before Reece has to go. Then, will Solskjaer be sacked next season?
Yes.
It's everyone. You can accept that. We'll come back to that probably sometime in January on the World of Football.
I've said it for the last 3 years as well. He'll be sacked by Christmas.
Well, there we go. So we'll find out. But Reece, thank you very much
if he's not challenging, then in all fairness, I can't disagree with that. But what I want to do is I am to anyone out there, obviously, who takes things to a complete literal sense, and by all means, give yourselves a wobble. I've never been Ollie in or Ollie out, but what I will say is I have never called for a manager's head. I don't see the need. But if a club sacks a manager, then they've done it with good reason. Yeah. And we just got to take it from there. But if we do sack the man, I don't want it to be another club legend. I don't think that's the best bet. But if you're going to bring someone in, it's got to be somebody that is right for the job, that plays the football that Man United actually want to represent, not just someone who's just given the job for the sake of it. It's got to be right. And if Solskjaer wins a trophy this year, then I hope so, because it gives him something. But at the moment, I don't know. I'm not going to go in and say, we're going to go and absolutely smash everything, because that would be far too. People would call me delusional, and that's not my type of style. For me, it's all about being a realist. I want us to win something. I want us to see where we go from here. And if we win something, great, we can use it as a stepping stone. But at the moment, I'm just a matter of, let's see where it goes.
Well, thank you very much, Reece, for coming on tonight. I know you've got another podcast to be with, but you won't be here next week, because I won't be here next week. But
we're off next week.
But I'm sure you'll be back on the channel very soon, and I'm sure when you come on, we'll see if England have Bronx at home and loads of other things. So enjoy the other podcast. Thank you for coming on again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys. Obviously, this is the show that I co-host, so I am here pretty much every week. It's just tonight I am co-hosting on the Weekly Armchair, so and we are starting right now. So if you guys want to tune in over there as well, it's the Weekly Armchair Sports Talk. Jump over there, hit the subscribe button as well, and I'll see you there very soon. After all, have a good night, guys. Peace.
All right, so moving on to Cardiff City, Nathan. Obviously, your players returned into pre-season last week because the championship starts a week earlier. Regarding your, I'll be honest, don't hate me for it. I haven't actually kept up with your transfer activity that much.
That's quite all right.
could you let me in the chat know who you've signed and who's gone?
Yes, I will get it up on Transfer Market very quick, actually.
Also,
because we have had some introductions as well. Go on.
I hope you didn't hate me for sending Jack for a bigger club in my Q&A. Obviously, I made sure I didn't stick to it.
Yeah, I knew that was a joke. But oh, I love that bit. Bear in mind that Cardiff City is one of those clubs. We always do our business right at the last minute, if anyone is wondering as well. So there's going to be a lot of players probably coming in on loan towards the end of the season. It's going to be interesting, guys, either way. But let me just get this up very quickly. Should have prepared for this. Yes, so far we have got James Collins coming in on a free transfer from Luton Town. Striker proven at this level. I think he got around 10 to 12 goals last season for a mid-table side, which is actually very, very good. He'll be a great partnership for Kiefer Moore up front. Ryan Wintle has also come in on a free transfer as well. Could be a sort of Marlon Pack replacement. One of the most sought after free agents from League One. So glad we got him. And then we got Mark McGuinness, a young centre-back on loan from Arsenal. Impressed last season on loan at Ipswich. And personally, I think he'll be something for us. As you know, departures so far, Robert Glatzel, we bought him for £5 million, sold him on for £900,000. Shocking. Junior Hoyler has been released, of course. Joe Day gone out on a free transfer back to Newport County. Joe Bennett, we don't know the situation with yet. But I got a feeling there's going to be a lot more coming through the doors. Looks like we're going to be looking at an attacking midfielder as well. I would very like to see one of those coming through. Just behind Kiefer Moore and James Collins there. I'm not sure who that's going to be at the moment. Could very well be Harry Wilson returning to us. Gareth Bale's favourite to come to Cardiff, of course. I'm going to leave that there for now because that's all speculation at the moment. But apart from that, get a left back in and I will be a very happy man, especially if we get the... what's his name coming on loan from Wolves? He's gone out my brain, guys. You'll have to remind me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least.
Before we get into your expectations and how you think Cardiff will be next season, what's the situation regarding fans and stadiums? Because obviously there was you had fans in against Albania for that warm-up game for the Euros.
Barely anyone were allowed in, though. I didn't even get tickets. It was that shambolic.
What's Drakeford doing regarding Swansea and Cardiff and stadium capacities?
3 words. I don't know.
Because England are going to have full capacity. That was confirmed. Full capacity. Northern Ireland over here. I don't know the full extent yet. I don't know the details, but I do know we're probably going to be 80-90% capacity, and for Northern Ireland grounds, that's insane. You know, that's so good for
the whole stadium, basically.
For a whole stadium, so that's exceptionally good. But Wales, we don't know.
He hasn't told us anything, and he's refusing to tell us anything as well. This is what we've had from the start, really. But as it stands at the moment, if he doesn't change anything, 10%.
10%.
10%, which is 3,000. That's
a joke.
3,300. It is shocking. Sure. And I mean, go back the other day as well. We saw it with at the Millennium Stadium for a Wales test game in the rugby. First game that they've been allowed to attend for 17 months because it was a field hospital, of course. Attendance 7,400. The stadium looked empty.
I don't want to get political here, okay? But why is Wales so behind on the vaccines, on the easing of lockdown, on fans getting back to the stadium, the test offensive? Why are Wales just so slow compared to the rest of the UK?
I'm trying not to get my political opinions across, but if you see my Twitter and a lot of people's Twitter from Wales as well, you know our exact opinions on Drakeford. we had an election in May to get rid of him. That did not happen. In fact, he had his best ever result. How on earth did that happen? I mean, the guy was unelected beforehand. I thought he was going to be absolutely destroyed, considering everyone I speak to in my constituency absolutely despises the man. And he's done nothing for Wales, and it's just getting worse for us. And honestly, he's got to be more transparent. I hope he said he's going to announce something next week, when he should be doing it now, considering Boris has announced this today. But he said, no, I'm going to do it next Friday. And he doesn't even know what he's going to do yet. It's completely shambolic.
Well, getting back to the football, and obviously Mike McCarthy. McCarthy.
No, that's the former Packers coach. In fact, he's now at the Dallas Cowboys.
I did that the thing last time. Sorry. Well, what's it? What my head's gone? It's not Mike.
Mick McCarthy.
Mick McCarthy. So my head's gone. Because I was going to talk to you about the NFL, so I was thinking out of my head. But I'll come to the NFL after this. But he played a free at the back last season. So a very similar question to what I asked Reece for going to 4-2-3-1 with United. Do you think the free at the back is the way he should be starting next season, or should it be a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2? You know, how do you think Cardiff should set up next season?
Mick McCarthy's a specialist in the Championship. He's done it before. He's actually won 2 Championship trophies with this exact formation. He has got to stay with 3 at the back, playing, and he always likes to do this as well. 1 slow but heavy-duty striker and 1 quick and pacey striker with something creative just behind them, and then the wing-backs overlapping. We have, 1 great wing-back at the moment in Perry NG. I don't know what's happening with Joe Bennett yet, but we still have Joel Bagan to fall back on. And we can get another player, we can get another player on loan as well. The Wolves left back as well to provide cover there, because Joe Bennett has got that really long-term injury. I don't know whether he's going to sign a contract or not, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm quite confident this season, and to be honest, an early spoiler with it as well, I think this is going to be the tightest Championship season ever.
Oh,
every team is just there's no standout team that's going to go up. Everything is so tight there, and it's going to be so narrow as well.
Well, this might make this question very hard to answer then. But what would your expectations be for next season then?
With the squad we got, and because it's Cardiff, and because of the size of the club we're compared to the other teams in the Championship, playoffs minimum.
So if you didn't get playoffs, you would sack McCarthy then?
Yes. McCarthy is getting sacked. Well, it happened with Harris. McCarthy is 100% going if we don't get playoffs. And that's Vincent Tan's opinion about it all. We have to push for it every season. We've got to get back into the Premier League as soon as possible, considering if you compare the size of the fan base, the size of the stadium, the amount of money that's been pumped in, and everything with all the other clubs in the Championship, we have got to get back to the Prem ASAP.
Do you think your squad's good enough to fight for the top 2, or do you think that's slightly out of reach given some of the teams that went down this season?
It really depends, because if you look at the other teams that have come down this season, they concern me. I mean, Sheffield United, they're going to really struggle, I think, with Johanovic. I mean, yes, he is a proven manager, but they have lost a lot of players, and going from Chris Wilder football to Johanovic footballer that's not going to bode well, I don't think, and that's going to be a few years rebuilding.
Just on this comment, what do you think about Marcus Silva at Fulham? Is that a disaster waiting to happen?
It is going from Scott Parker, who really had things gelling there, and then he just leaves to go to. That surprised me as well. I mean, Fulham, the richest club in the Championship, constant money ploughed into that club, and then he goes to Bournemouth.
That didn't make any sense. So did it really?
No, it makes no sense at all.
Made no sense.
But Bournemouth aren't going up. I really don't think they will, unless something drastic happens. Then, because bearing in mind, Parker's got to rebuild that squad as well. It's probably the strongest squad, but
a lot of people say that Scott Parker is so overrated simply because he's English. Do you agree with that?
From what I've seen of him, I don't know. He hasn't had long enough to prove himself. He has some okay moments in the Championship when he brought them straight back up to the Premier League, but he should have won the league with the squad he had, and then he only just managed to win the playoffs as well. And then going forwards, he did really well in the Premier League. So he's had one average season. Well, he did get promoted in the end, and he's had one quite okay season. We're going to have to wait and see how that goes this year with a different team.
Doug, if you're still in the chat, and I want you to answer this question over you, Nathan, do you think Marco Silva will last the season at Fulham? The guys don't want to have. You think about Fulham's defense, and this guy's known to have some of the worst defenses that he's managed. So it's not
when he was at Hull, though. He had a great defense at Hull.
But Everton and Watford was a disaster.
Shocking, yeah. I really don't know, because Scott Parker really shored up the defence in the Premier League, but they just couldn't score that squad. I reckon they'll get playoffs, but I don't know whether he'll survive. I think he'll probably go through this season and then get sacked straight away after. Well, get sacked into the second season he's there, but we're going to have to wait and see. It's a massive mystery for me because Marco Silva hasn't managed in the Championship before.
I know your dad isn't in the comments anymore, so I want you to ask him for me whenever you next talk to him. But would you and your dad be willing to come on the channel for a championship table prediction video in a few weeks' time before the league starts?
Let me know the dates and we'll be there, because we got one going up on our channel. We'll talk about it in more depth on yours, of course.
Okay, that's fine. I'll make a group chat on Twitter about it. So you still so there's that confirmed. Right, what about the people down the road? How do you think they're going to do?
They've lost a lot of players this summer, and the funny thing is the absolute arrogance on Twitter with some of the players they've been linked with. I'm sorry, but if you're a Swansea fan who thinks that Harry Wilson is going to Swansea, get that out of your mind, because it's not happening. I mean, why would any player go from one club to your biggest rivals? I can't even remember the last time that has happened. I mean, it's happened where we've had Swansea players playing for us and they've had our players playing for them as well, but they've had massive gaps in between. I can't remember the last time when a Cardiff player has gone straight to Swansea. And not only that, they can't afford him either, especially when they want him on a permanent as well. And they don't spend their owners don't spend money. Yes, you have cleared a massive wage bill when you got rid of Andre Ayew, but I don't think so.
Do you think Steve Cooper's still the right man for them?
They're very lucky to have him, because I thought he would have been gone in the summer to the Premier League. Underrated manager, but we're gonna have to wait and see.
What did you make? Just on. I know I forgot to ask Reece this. What did you make of the Crystal Palace appointment? Very, very, very out of the blue, isn't it?
That surprised me. I thought Cooper was going there, but Patrick Vieira, really? And he's disappointed at Nice as well. And I think he's had some jobs in America. I've got concerns about that. But either way, early spoiler, I think Crystal Palace are going down next year. And I've said this for ages as well. Ever since Roy is going to leave.
You look at their contract problems too. Like half their squad's not even there next season.
I know.
This is a club who doesn't spend back to the Championship. Is there any teams in the Championship who you think could be underdogs? You think Wayne Rooney's Derby County could be a threat next season?
No chance. They're a threat for relegation, let's just say. What I like to do is I like to have a look at the table and peruse, because this is always a big one. Let's have a look. Because there are some dark horses in there, and there are a lot of dark horses for relegation. Bearing in mind, in a matter of months, a team in the Championship can go from promotion candidates to being bottom of the league. The champion is so hard to predict, and it can be that tight as well. But you gotta watch it. So if I have a look, Barnsley, they've lost their manager. I think they're gonna miss out because he's really steered the ship in there. But they'll be up there, definitely. Over dark horses, let's have a look. Middlesbrough, Warnock's third season. They've signed a lot of good players. They're going to be up there and around it. They're going to be massive dark horses next year. QPR, they're pushing for playoffs, maybe even automatics if they're unlucky. Very good squad. They're building something there. Warburton, superb manager as well at this level, especially when they've been having loads of issues over the last few years. And I've actually said they could go down in one of the seasons as well a few years ago. They've got the right players in. They're going to make a promotion push. West Brom, I think they're going to have to take a year out somehow, but this is so hard to predict this year. Normally, there's like one standout for finishing top, but I can't think of anything. I really can't this year.
Just a question here from Hallie, saying for both of us here, can someone explain Nuno to Spurs for me? Makes no sense to me. It stinks of desperation. You know,
All I can get.
Nuno plays a very similar style to Jose Mourinho. He's very defensive. He likes his three at the back. He likes to play two holding midfielders with a back three. Do you think this is just a worse, less popular version of Jose Mourinho, and it literally was just desperation because pre-season started a week after they appointed him, and after failing to get Cristo and Antonio Conte? And do you think Nuno was just desperation?
It was a panic buy because I thought he was going to go back to Portugal, but managed sort of like a Benfica, and they were going to do a swap because, of course, the current Wolves manager went to Benfica, and I thought they were just going to swap over. But it's difficult to say, really difficult. But I do think that his formations and the way he sets it out does suit them. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's either going to be a massive success for Spurs or a massive disaster.
Nuno's not enough to keep Harry Kane, though, is he? He's all got the pedigree to keep Harry Kane.
And
I don't think Nuno lasts. I think if he doesn't win the European Super League, if he doesn't win the European Conference League, he's sacked. He has to win that. He has to win that competition.
Look at some of the other teams that are in there. Surely.
I don't think I'll watch a single game of that competition. I just don't think I could bear myself to watch that.
Oh, I know.
Some of the scores you'll see Spurs win 5-6-0 probably comfortably. If Nuno doesn't win that, that's a failure within itself, isn't it? So,
even I could win that tournament with him.
If he imagine that he doesn't win the Conference League and he doesn't finish top 4, like that would just be
He's gone.
But it's a possibility. It is a possibility. Here's a question from Doug. How do you think Peterborough, Hull, and Blackpool will do?
My personal opinion on the three of them, I think Peterborough, they might challenge, but Clark Harris looks awesome if they keep him, of course. But they got some really good players there, and they always produce really good strikers. But it's the defense that concerns me with just that League One. Especially that League One defense, especially with some of their midfield as well. I don't think they're good enough. They might challenge to get out of the relegation spots, but I think they will go down just. Hull, massive mystery for me. I think they might just survive, and Blackpool might just survive as well, but I think it's going to be tight. If we look, I'm looking at the current odds at the moment, and currently they reckon Peterborough finish bottom, Coventry second bottom, and Blackpool finishing third bottom, but I disagree with that. Currently, I think my bottom three is Derby, Huddersfield, Peterborough. Early call.
Derby kind of to go down. But obviously, they were very, very lucky last season not to go down.
Wainwright will be sacked as well halfway through the season.
My final question to you before we wrap things up. How do you think next season, in terms of the Premier League and the Championship, you look at Manchester United and you look at Spurs, you look at Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea might come out of blue and play Highland out of blue, and City are getting Harry Kane Spurs. The Championship, there's no real clear favourites to go up this year, unlike there was last year. Do you think we could be like we've seen with the Euros, where all the underdogs, except for Turkey, turned up and? You look at the Euros and you look at the Euros, how competitive it was. Do you think that might carry over to the Premier League and the Champions League and Bundesliga? Do you think that football is getting more and more competitive and these smaller teams are starting to be able to compete more? Do you think we're in for a very, very exciting league, especially when stadiums are full capacity again and all in the Premier League? Do you think it's exciting times for football going forward?
I think so, yes, because I think that's because of the TV money that's coming through as well, and certain clubs down below that being taken over, aside from the top 6. But I still think there needs to be more done about things like financial fair play and everything, and especially getting money pushed down the pyramid as well, especially in the Championship with certain clubs. Because what I find with Championship teams is that they sort of spend 2 or 3 years constantly pumping money in, trying their hardest to get into the Premier League, and then if that doesn't happen, they end up having these massive financial issues and then just absolutely plummet down the table. I mean, we've seen it with Derby, failed numerous times. We've seen it with Sheffield Wednesday getting relegated. We've seen it with Forest. We've seen it with so many teams. especially teams that come down and when their parachute payments run out, likes of Hull has happened to, Huddersfield, the Jacks. Then it's a really weird league, and yeah, I think it's going to make it really exciting.
Well, also I have to ask you this: are you excited for the NFL starting preseason starts? Preseason starts here and next month in the NFL, and the season starts mid-September. Are you and your dad excited for it again?
We are indeed. We can't wait for it to be back on, to be honest. I mean, the NBA is just finishing. That's been a great season. Lots of shocks there as well. In particular, the Phoenix Suns has been absolutely phenomenal there. But in terms of, I got to get some Packer talk in here, guys. In terms of us, I think this is going to be our last season that we will get anything out of Aaron Rodgers. He's getting so close to retirement now. Yes, he did want to leave because we completely bottled it last year, but we've got to do something this year. We have really got to push for Super Bowl. This is going to be our last chance.
Right here, I'm going to ask you this now live here on the podcast. I want me and you to do an NFL predictions video every single week for the NFL for the obviously there's an extra week of regular season football in the NFL coming this year, 17 weeks. Would you be willing to come onto my channel once every week to do an NFL predictions video for the fun of it and add a new competitive knowledge to this channel? Yeah. Would you be down to do
that? I'll see how much time I have and I'll let you know. I gotta get it in the diary.
Well, that's pretty much a yes if you have time. Then I'll take that as a yes. So, have you got anything else you want to say to the chat?
I don't think so. No, that's me done.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoyed this longer episode. So there'll be no podcast next week because I'm away out on a Northern Ireland Defend that happens on the 12th every year, so I won't be here. But we will be back to full on Monday, and hopefully be more videos coming out on the channel over the next couple of days. So again, check my Twitter in the bio, in the description, and that's where you get all the updates. So thank you very much, guys, for joining. Enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy the rest of your evening, and that's goodbye from us.
Why do you let us hurt one another just for the dollar? Did you lose your heart in the darkness deep in your pocket? No, I don't care of the price I pay. I don't want to spend my life that way. Tell me, is the pain that you're causing worth what you profit?
Yeah, I know that money don't buy happiness, but buys you more material shit. Been reworking how I think and what it means to be rich. I used to think it meant to flex, so Rolex on my wrist. Feels bad to take more than you give. Lately hate how we live. I never want to become the things that I hate. With a man in the mirror with laugh and spit in my face and tell me that the money is maybe another fake. I've been drowning in my mind and my money's been adding weight. Oh Lord, please save me. I should've known that something man-made couldn't make me. I say I'm making music, or is music what creates me? I never have an answer.